Paul Kirch, host and founder of Boss Academy. We're grateful you're here. Now, we're a community of like-minded professionals who are on a mission to make a difference. We're purpose-driven, and we're committed to leaving the world a better place through our own missions. And together, we support each other on that journey. And if you're a part of this and you want to join today, your enriched journey is going to begin. We provide the resources, the tools, the collaboration, and the community to bring you to new heights. And we boost your confidence along the way. We help create opportunities to succeed in ways you can't on your own. I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsors who make these events possible. Admanity, the breakthrough system to marketing success like nothing else. The most powerful marketing and branding assessment tool available in the industry. Admanity helps others say yes to your brand. Check them out at admanity.com. The Merrill Institute for Nonverbal Intelligence. Understanding body language and nonverbal intelligence training. The Merrill Institute was formed to teach others the ability to communicate skillfully and effectively with those around them. Visit themerrillinstitute.com. Michelle Lee Coaching. Increase sales up to 300%. Close deals faster. Build stronger and more meaningful relationships with a proven system, state-of-the-art technology, and all the training you need to exponentially grow your business. Visit my.bankcode.com/Boss Academy. The Sure Method, leveraging LinkedIn, a LinkedIn optimization program that provides professionals with actionable and results-driven steps to generate leads and referrals that convert to cold, hard cash. Visit thesuremethod.com. And Websites by Salience, output-driven, outcome-based. Remember, one size fits none. We leverage ROI-based digital marketing and B2B sales to build a website that's going to help you transform your business. Visit Salience.com. Check out our amazing member benefits at bossacademy.com, the last boss you'll ever need. So today I want to welcome our members and just great contributors and people I consider friends, Tom Collins and Yvonne DiVita. They bring more than half a century of experience with professional writing, editing, and publishing. In 2004, they dove into the indie author space with Yvonne's first book about marketing to women who shop online. It's a great title. We'll have to get her to reveal that. That effort showed them how much better the indie author experience could and should be with personalized attention to each author. This led to starting their own publishing company, WME Books, where they helped dozens of authors realize their dream of becoming a published author. After a business startup detour into the pet social media industry, Tom and Yvonne returned to their passion and love of books, recreating their former business of helping authors write, publish, and market their books. As master book builders, they continue to support and guide writers through the process of book building and marketing in a digital world. Let's welcome Tom Collins and Yvonne DiVita. Super excited you guys are here. I will turn over the screen sharing to you and
excellent.
Take it away.
Screen two.
And while you're doing that, I do want to mention one thing. Brian Gregory and I are hosting our next Yes Connect networking event on August 22nd at 2:30 Eastern Time.
Be there, everybody. Just be there. So, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Excellent. Right. Excellent. So, we're kind of picking on people here a little bit because we come across so many authors, would-be authors or whatnot, who either have a book or want to write a book, and the book ends up becoming a doorstop. You don't want that to happen to you. So for us today, let me start with a question. How many of you have written a book or are thinking about writing a book? And we need to open the chat for that.
Right.
It's in here so we can monitor here. Definitely planning on it. Ooh, awesome. Yes, Deborah's written 5 books, everyone. Deborah has some amazing books. I want everyone to check out Deborah's books. So this is great. In Brian Gregory's book, Sheep Don't Eat Complicated Grass. Love that one. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you can be successful with your book. We're not going to talk about the actual writing of it. We're going to talk about what needs to happen. You've written a book, or you're thinking about writing a book, and why. What is important about the actual marketing of the book? What does it mean to market a book? What does it mean to what we call follow the Taylor Swift model of book marketing? So we're going to go through. Oops. This needs to go back over here. There we go. Here are just some of the reasons. Just a few of the reasons that books don't get the attention that they deserve. A book is a brand. So if you're a business professional already, you have a brand, and the book is going to become part of your brand. If you don't already have a business and you're writing the book to help create one, this is going to be your brand. And you have to think about this ahead of time. This is a planning strategy that you need to cover ahead of time. We find a lot of people that are very worried about talking about their book. They come to us and say, but I'm afraid someone's going to steal my ideas. Well, ideas are not copyrightable. So yeah, people could steal your idea, but let's face it, the book that you're writing, no one else can write. No one else has your experiences. No one else knows what you know. Excuse me, my throat. We tell authors to tease out information about the book. So while you're writing the book, you can actually share. You can ask people for help on the title. You can ask people for help on the book cover. You can even put mentions of the content from the book in your social media channels and tell people this is from chapter 1, and here's why it's important. This gets people engaged. All right. So now people are becoming engaged. They know you're writing a book. They're interested now in when that book is coming out. And when it comes out, they're going to be part of your fan club. And this is the big thing. You're building a fan club. We don't think of it that way so much in authorship in books as they do in being a rock star like Taylor Swift and her Swifties. But in books, we think of it as building a community. So if you have a community, and we're talking about, generally we focus on LinkedIn, but I will tell you, Instagram is very good for authors. I've heard good stories about TikTok, and that means doing video. That means putting your face out there. That means, yes, not being afraid to talk about your book in these little 1 minute to 2 minute clips that you might create. But on LinkedIn, there's a wealth of opportunity to find people who are interested in the topic you are writing about. And that's something you should do all the time. You should do it every day. We do also find people who focus too much on book sales. And we're here to tell you that you are not going to make a lot of money on your book. In fact, let me ask you another question. How many books does the average author sell? Give us a guess. Put it in the chat. Some of you may know the answer because we've talked about it before. 200, 100. The answer is between 250 and 280. And we're talking average author. So you are an average author until you have that community to sell to. The average author doesn't support their book. The average author thinks the publisher is going to support their book. Guess what? The publisher's not going to do that. In fact, we have a handout that you may request that goes into more detail on exactly what we're talking about here today and how publishers, major big publishers, do not support you as an author in marketing. They're not sending you on a book tour. They're not getting you on television. They're going to say to you, sell more books. Why aren't you selling more books? And if you don't sell enough books and you've got an advance, you're probably going to have to pay back the advance that you didn't use up. So understand that this is about you. It's about your brand. It's about the story you're telling. It's about the message you're sharing. It's about how you are going to solve a problem for people. And when we talk about the Taylor Swift model of bookmarking, which is our favorite new little thing, because who doesn't know what a rock star Taylor Swift is? She is up there at the very top. And we think that if authors were able to follow the Taylor Swift model of book marketing, they would get farther ahead. So I'm going to let Tom talk a little bit about that.
And we have someone from Seattle here, so you're probably really familiar with this. This slide is from a screenshot of one frame from a news report on one of the Seattle stations that runs e-news, and the Taylor Swift concert that happened in Seattle produced enough energy to register on the seismographs at 2.3 on the scale, and it was roughly double what had happened in the famous Beastquake when one of the Seahawks scored a touchdown. And the thing that really impressed me, they had the seismologist on interviewing her, and she made note that the quake at the football game lasted about 40 seconds. The quake at the Taylor Swift concert ran for around 6 minutes. And it was just consistent. They put the graph in the thing. So the link is there. If you get the ebook handout that we have available, there's a live link in there as well. Yeah, that's what can happen when you build a community of eager fans.
Yeah. So if you were going to use the Taylor Swift model of marketing, here are some of the things you need to understand. You need to prepare early before the book is done, as I said. But a big thing that I go through with my authors is, who is your audience? And I will tell you, most authors tell me, well, everyone in business can use my book. And I'll say, well, not everyone in business is going to buy your book. I'm sorry. So let's talk about who the specific group is. And we go through these steps where we identify that group. Because when you identify the group, what I call the core group, other people call it a target market. I do not like to use the word target because I don't want people shooting things at me. So I say your core group. Who are your core group? And these are the people that we're going to keep in mind when we're writing the book. These are the people who we want to make sure that the content in the book is going to serve, because these people will then sell it to all the other people you want to have it. Then the other thing people don't think about is what to do after. What do you want to happen after the book? I think I asked this of every single person in the last 2 months that I've talked to, probably 15 people who are either writing a book or have a book. Well, what would you like to happen? And they all say the same thing. I like people to buy my book. And I'm like, this is not the answer. No, this is not the answer. What you want to happen is you want people to join your community. You want people to become part of your fan club. And you have to tell them that in the book. You have to remind them throughout the book that you have a community they should join. Here's why. And then you need to do a bunch of other things that Taylor Swift does. And I'm going to let Tom talk about that because he's really good at it.
Yeah, so think about Taylor Swift and what she would do if she were an author, if she had a book. If you convert what she does with her Swifties into book readers, you're really starting to talk about having webinars, creating workshops, creating mastermind groups, book clubs, courses, online courses. And the magic that Taylor creates is because she is personally involved in these things. We had Michelle and Meredith talk about their speaking opportunities. That gets them in front of real live people. 1,100 people added to Michelle's email list enables her to start communicating directly with them, and that gets me excited because she and I are writing our next book together. But those are the kinds of things you want to create: real personal relationships with that core group that you were thinking about while you were writing the book. And I mean, one of the things we tell people is you start marketing while or even before you start writing the book. It's both always too late to start marketing your book, but then again, it's never too late to market your book. After the book is out there, after her first concert, you want to continue those relationships. The speaking engagement thing is, as we just talked about, and then Michelle's was online. Meredith, if she can land this thing, this will be live and in person. And I also wanted to make mention that we have an honest to God rock star example among us in Brian Gregory. We've talked to Brian, and he took his book and built an entire freaking company out of it. And so the idea here is that you want to, and by the way, again, that is something that models Taylor. She built her own media company out of her music. So the way you make money with it isn't necessarily it's unlikely actually from selling the book. It's from what the book can become for you and the kind of ongoing business relationships it can drive.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it.
Oh, excuse me, one more thing. And I'm not going to go into detail on this because we wanted to keep this metaphor of Taylor Swift front and center. But if you do get the ebook that goes with this, I tell the story in there about Brandon Sanderson. He's a sci-fi fiction author, and he has done some amazing things. He runs his own book club. And gets his fans to join him, and has hundreds and hundreds of people attending the book club meetings. So yeah, I wanted to make mention of Brandon.
Yeah, that's in the ebook also. So I want to talk a little bit about Amazon, because this is a big deal, right? Everyone, I'll tell you, I do meet people now and then who say, I don't like Amazon. I don't want to be on Amazon. You know, Amazon is mean to people. Well, Amazon has its standards, and Amazon has thrown people off with their books. But the truth of the matter is, Amazon is the big gorilla in the room. You have to be on Amazon if you do want to get noticed and make book sales. And the key for being on Amazon is to understand how to describe your book in the book description, and also how many categories and what categories that you need to be in. So when we do book launches, we're very specific and very careful about making sure that the book is described. Here's the thing. Whatever kind of book you're writing, someone else has written a book similar. So if you come to me and say, no one's ever written anything like this. This is brand new. No one in the whole world in the history of writing has ever written a book like this. I will say to you, that's nice. I'm going to introduce you to someone else who can work with you, because the truth of the matter is, there's always someone to compare yourself to. And that's what we want to do. We want to understand who's the competition. Who are you up against on Amazon? So here's a question that you can put the answer to in the chat. What happens when you get your book on Amazon? So you write a book and it's on Amazon. What happens now? Tell me what you think happens when you or someone helps you, like us, get your book on Amazon. What do you think happens the next day? Deborah says she can send the link to her network. Good. Anne says nothing. Okay, Anne wins because nothing happens. Yes, Paul, you can get reviews, but how do you get them? You have to ask for them. So nothing happens. I tell people, unless you make it happen, but I tell people all the time, you're on Amazon and no, they come to me, no one's buying my book. I said, well, that's because you're in Amazon purgatory. So Amazon has just, honestly, here's the truth. Amazon is not in the market to sell your book. Amazon is in the market to sell products. Books are products. They're only going to promote and sell and help you with your book if you have that community, if you're making sales, if your description is correct, if you're going in perhaps every 6 months and updating that description, your author page, putting in a new picture. Amazon wants new updated content also. You have to Paul's point, you have to ask people for reviews. People don't just automatically write a review. When we work with our authors, we do beta reader reach outs. And that means we send the uncorrected galley proof to a whole boatload of beta readers, and they come back and give us testimonials. Well, now we have to say to the beta readers, when the book comes out, will you please go write a book review? And I'm here to tell you, maybe out of 50 people, 3 people will write a book review. So you have to either keep after them, or you have to figure out a way to entice them to do the book review. Someone's asking, what about verified, Paul, book reviews versus others? All book reviews on Amazon have to come from verified buyers.
That's not 100% true. They do.
They label it.
Yes, they label it, and they also have a tendency to delete or not publish reviews that, for example, come from someone with the same last name, or it's and that is a black box. No one really knows how and why that happens, but it does happen.
Yeah, and on the surface of it, all the people that were your beta readers, or at least we hope all the people, will come to the launch party and they will buy a copy of the ebook, generally offered at a discount. So they will become verified buyers of the book. There are also places that do book reviews. And yes, you can join or pay for book reviews, and Amazon will accept them because the people will read the book.
Yeah, those go in the editorial review section on your Authors Central page. So,
right.
And they tend to be at least as impressive to buyers. So those are good things to get. Yeah,
and I mean, for Amazon, for the sales of the book, Amazon is great, and you have to be paying a lot of attention. The other thing I want to mention is corporate sales. So we're talking business books here. And there's no reason that you shouldn't look at corporate book sales where they buy cases of book. We had a author years back where her former employer would buy a case every couple of months. So depending on your network and whatnot, and we help and work with our authors on identifying this, having corporate sales, buying case quantities is fantastic, because what happens is then they generally invite you in to speak. So they either buy the case quantities ahead of time, which a lot of people do in their pre-marketing. I'll tell you, a lot of business authors will do a pre-marketing landing page where they offer case quantities to corporations at a discount. And understand, when you're buying books that you're either going to bring to a speaking engagement or give away at a networking event or whatever, you are buying the book at the author cost.
It's Amazon's print cost plus shipping if you're using KDP. It's a pretty darn good deal. I mean, you can get unit costs down if you do the old self-publishing model and have them printed in China and buy 10,000, but then you have 10,000 books. if you want to buy a couple dozen at a time, KDP, I think, is pretty close to the best deal around.
Yeah, so you want to think about that also, because it pays to give books away free. We're not going to get into that, but Mike Capuzzi, he's mentioned in the ebook that we're going to hand out. He has a book called Free Books: how to build the magic of free books. So the other thing is, before we forget, he talked about Brandon Sanderson, and the thing I want to impress, we've got rock star Taylor Swift, we've got fiction author Brandon Sanderson, and all the people here, we're all businesses, right? So what does that have to do with us? Well, as we mentioned, you're all building community. Both Brandon Sanderson and Taylor Swift are very focused on communicating, engaging, supporting. They both send prizes and presents to their community. They keep the chatter going. They participate in the chatter. They're not sitting back thinking, well, I built it, now they will come. And that doesn't happen in any other world, and it doesn't happen in the book world. So we also, before I had a little note. We have the giveaway. Oh, we have a couple blog posts. That's what I forgot. Tom is going to put a couple blog posts in the chat, and these go into detail on both Taylor Swift and the indie publishing program we have, which mentions how Brandon Sanderson created his.
Those go in?
I don't know. Yes, how he created his community. I mean, this man is, I don't know. I don't think he sleeps. That's all my answer. I don't think he sleeps.
He cranks out a lot of books.
He cranks out so much. Yeah, but in the end, he knew, like Taylor knows, like we're telling you, that nothing happens without the readers. And this is my focus when I work with authors. My focus is, what about the reader? Okay, we have identified this core group. We have to serve them. How can we serve them? So I'm telling you that Taylor goes out of her way to send people little gifts and presents, and she actually has parties. You could have a party. But basically, just look at the big picture of what is happening when Taylor Swift gets on stage. A lot of effort went in there. And by the way, all the effort that went in there was supported by a team and person. The team, right? Click.
Oh, you want me to click?
Click.
Oh, okay.
Good teamwork, guys. Good teamwork. All right.
we did.
We've been working together so long. You finally
so much
get it.
easier, doesn't it? These are some of the people that you need to have on your team. You absolutely have to have a book cover designer. I will tell you right now, people do judge your book by your cover. That's one of the things on Amazon that you can change. If you go 6 months later and you want to put up a new fantastic cover, you can do that. You want to make sure the interior layout is done properly. We've worked with authors that had their books published elsewhere and the interior design was missing. It's almost like they took the Word doc and put it into a program and said, here's your book. You want copywriter, developmental editor. These are the people that you need. The book marketer, promotional help. We provide quite a bit of that, but there are actual book marketers out there that we could introduce people to if that's something they want. We haven't included in this list a dozen other people that could help you make not just the book. Understand, this isn't just about the book. It's about the message and the man or the woman. So it's the message is the most important thing, because the message is how it serves the reader. And then you are as important as that, because today, every reader wants to get to know the author. Today, because of social media, getting to know the author is key. And if you're not going to participate that way, you're going to go to your rock concert. Nobody's going to be there. That's all I can tell you. So Now let's answer some of the questions. I saw a few other questions. This is our handout.
Yeah, to kind of put a button on the Taylor analogy. Look at this picture on the cover, and she looks like she just met her new best friend, and that's the relationship she builds with her fans.
Yep.
And you can do the same thing with your readers.
So yeah, let's look at some of the other questions that we had.
Okay.
I know Linda said, have same friends recommend each other's books.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a really key thing. You can also contribute to each other's newsletters. So do you know someone who has a newsletter that you could contribute to, and then they can contribute to yours? And now you have more people on your list. One of the big questions I wanted to get back to was about audiobooks.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Somebody wants.
What about the audio version of the book? Does that have any better or worse results? And is it necessary? It's necessary, yes. We will tell you it is very necessary. And secondly, does it have the same results? It depends on the book. It depends on the audience. You can't, there's no way of guaranteeing any results. I mean, so again, if you come to me and say, how many books are you going to sell for me, Yvonne? I'm going to say none, because that's not my job. I don't sell books. I cannot guarantee any sales. The sales will come if you follow the Taylor Swift model of book marketing. But the audio version is huge because it's very popular and it's growing. And I expect in a few years it's going to overtake ebooks and whatnot, because young kids don't want to read. I'll tell you right now, people under 40, 35, they don't want to read. They want to listen to books. What else do we have?
Anybody else want to call out a question that they either already asked or haven't?
Well,
got a couple
one question that came up, I think is a really good one. John asked, how do we get the ebook? Are you guys comfortable with me sharing that out to everybody, or do you want people to opt in?
The ebook? It can go to everybody.
Yeah, do you want to just share that with me and then I'll send it out to everybody?
Yeah, we'll send it to you. We'll send it to you.
Okay, perfect.
But what do we have? Linda says, how do you write a book that stays relevant through the years? You don't. You write several books.
Yeah.
You write one, and the next year you write another.
And you can always have a 5th anniversary edition where you update the information. I think novels, maybe fiction. You want to stop sharing?
Yes, we can answer some of that.
Okay.
Yeah, and Michael Coleman, I attended his book launch, and there was another book launch. I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Yeah, John Barnes.
Yes, great experience. If anybody have not attended their book launches, they're really an amazing experience, an opportunity to meet the author in a new way. How important are things like book launches and those types of promotions?
Yeah,
a book launch is the equivalent of Taylor dropping a new album. It's an event. It needs to be more than just it's now live on Amazon. Yeah.
And book launches are becoming more and more popular because you can invite people from all over the country, all over the world. And in our book launches, we have people from all over the world. We've had people from South Africa come to our book launches.
And it's the middle of the night for them.
Yeah. And in the end, the book launch is a party. It's not just, here's my book, let me read a passage from it. No, we try to make it a party. And with everyone we do, we get a little bit more experience, and we have a little bit more fun. And that's one of the things about it, is when you can get people together and have fun and talk about this particular subject or book, then they go away feeling good. And of course, we ask them to buy the book at the book launch, because that's what builds the Amazon algorithm and will often drive the book to Amazon bestseller status.
Michelle, you had a question?
Questions and comments. I loved your presentation. I love the way you guys work together as a team. I love your authenticity, and I love your honesty when you tell people literally they need to build their community, because so many people don't tell anyone that. They just think they're going to write this book and it's going to be on the bestseller list. So I absolutely just can't tell you how that really touched me, because you're so honest and you walk them through step by step and set them up for success.
Yeah,
And tell them
Michelle,
exactly what.
I actually meant to mention this. This group is a wonderful mix of people and with a lot of different marketing skills. Your program, the bank system, all of these things can be used to implement the Taylor Swift model.
Yes.
If you're going to build personal relationships, your tool is a great thing to have at your disposal. So I didn't want to imply that Taylor has a lock on any of this stuff. She's probably using tools like yours.
But
But she's got a whole team, of course, to do these things.
Just on the news yesterday or the day before, it talked about how Taylor Swift has outsold now all rock tours or
Yeah, she's set to be the highest grossing tour ever.
Grossing paid tour in history. So it's like over $2 billion or something.
Well, it helps when her tickets are $1,300 a pop.
But Michelle, so in the book world, the book might be $27.99, but the coaching might be $1,500
or $15,000.
Yeah, I get tired of hearing about Taylor Swift because I have a 12-year-old daughter who's obsessed with her, but that's okay. I actually really appreciate
watch and learn.
Well, and interesting thing. I just read an article. You never know what to believe about celebrities, but on one of her recent tours, she was gifting like crew members massive amounts of money,
$100,000 to the guys who were driving the trucks.
Yeah, and you hear those things, and obviously that's good PR, but it's also coming from a good place. So I really respect that example to follow. So when we're looking at maybe we have a book concept, but we're not sure how to pull it together. Obviously writing it is one challenge, but once you write it, what are the real opportunities for somebody that has no following? They don't really have a community. They've got a book concept. I mean, I've met people that have books that they've written that they hand them out like business cards. Yep. And that's it's like the ultimate business card, right? Yep. It's like nobody's gonna throw it on the desk, or even if they don't read it, it leaves an impression.
Absolutely.
But what are some other ways that somebody that has no following can get some exposure?
As Tom is saying, we wrote a book called Book is Business Card. We may still have it. It's not on the current site. However, the way you do that, Paul, is again, you start right away. And you generally are going to have to work with someone. This is not something that people can do by themselves. And this is the important part to understand. You have to have a team, and part of that team has to be people who know the business well enough to help you, guide you, or introduce you to the right people to help build in that community. And a big part of that is, where's that community sit? So here's the core group of people that we've chosen as our the description of who we think this is best for, who this book is going to help the most. Well, where do they hang out?
Yeah, where do they hang out?
Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on LinkedIn? Generally for us, they're on Facebook or LinkedIn. But again, Instagram and TikTok are very, very good ways if you can become comfortable doing video and reels, because you can build a community and a following there. And if you do it while you're writing the book, and by the way, generally for us, book projects last between 9 and 12 months, sometimes a little longer. So you have time to do it in there. And basically it's a community effort, so to speak, so that we help. We have other people that we can tap into who help, but the author has to do their job. And that means they really have to participate. I can post for my authors occasionally. I cannot respond to their comments.
Yeah, and two other things is don't forget about face-to-face, real life meetings and networking. Building a community is about networking. Another thing that the magic that I've just discovered is find a co-author. If you
Yep.
So if you are feeling like you don't have a community, maybe you find somebody else who does, or maybe, I mean, I think almost nobody can say they have no community.
Right.
So if you find somebody else who has a small community and you put your two together, then you have a little bigger community to start with. And you know, we've said it a bunch of times, goes back to our early blogging days. You want to spend your time, at least half of your effort, on other people's platforms, on other people's LinkedIn posts and profiles, leaving recommendations on LinkedIn and Alignable. There are ways to build relationships that we all know, and they apply fully to books.
Well, can I just give a big shout out to Tom and Yvonne, because I've had the joy of working with both of them. And first of all, thank you, Paul, for creating the space so that I can meet these wonderful two people. It has been an absolute delight. Joy. It brings me so much joy to work with both of you. And Tom and I are having so much fun writing this book together. And we keep bouncing ideas and like, oh, and then we can do this and we can do this. And so it's getting more and more colorful and packed full of great information and research that I don't know that either one of us would have thought of left to our own device. So, and they make it really, really easy. So if you're thinking of writing your own book, please just have a conversation with them, because it has made been one of the highlights of my year this year, honestly. So thank you.
And I do want to take a selfish opportunity to say that if you're not a member of Boss Academy, you really should consider it. Yvonne has been very vocal about the transformation it's made for her company. Michelle Molitor, others in here have had massive personal growth and professional growth from being a part of this. And I feel blessed every week to be in this with you guys. So we really appreciate it. And I can't also to echo Tom a little bit, the in-person events. Today, we're back to in-person events. There are local small networking groups that you can go and visit and join. I always recommend people look at the American Marketing Association. I used to be a board member back when I lived in Rochester. That's a national organization. Look at the Speakers Bureau. So most authors will want to speak and they will be asked to be on podcasts. We will want them to be on podcasts because that is a great way to promote yourself and your message and
connect with somebody else's community.
Right.
Built in.
And look at the opportunities because they are there. You just have to get creative. But again, if you have a team, then you have a meeting and the team gets together and all of these things, wonderful things happen.
And by the way, AMA is a great organization. Gene Philippi, if you're still on there, he's been multiple runs as president of the San Francisco AMA. I was on the board of directors for the local chapter years ago. And a lot of authors come speak at AMA events, right, Gene?
Yes, it's a great organization to be involved with, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about it. Think about the fact that if I'm an event planner or I'm having an event and I want a speaker, why wouldn't I want an author? An author already has a message and you expect they know how to deliver it.
And Linda Swindling's a member of the National Speakers Association. A lot of speakers today, actually, if you don't have a book, it's harder and harder to get a keynote, right, Linda?
Yeah, it is. And, imagine if you're up for a speech that pays some money and you're the one that can send them a box of books or a book to seal the deal. So it really does help. And it kind of helps solidify that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to wrap this up to be respectful of people's time, but I do have one question real quick. A lot of times when it comes to authoring a book, people think that it has to be a certain length, but micro content has really become very prevalent. In fact, Linda has some of my favorite books of hers are these little passport books that she's written. Do you have one of those that you could just show real quick? You don't have to have a massive 200-page book to be effective.
How many pages, Linda?
You're muted. Somehow you muted yourself.
I've got 13 of them and it's got about 32, 34. I wouldn't recommend doing it in exactly this format because I think it's free. So unless you're willing to hand them out for free, but the gold foil, the curved edges, the recycled paper actually makes this little tiny book more than, I don't have my self-published one, but more than this one by about 3 times. So for a small book, you could do like 3 or 4 of them, hand them out, and it's much better if it's bound. It's much better. So, but yeah, this was a great tool instead of doing handouts, doing this and combining a lot of talks into this.
Really?
But I would go look this over that now with the new printing costs and everything.
Yeah, on the printing costs, Amazon just recently revised their print cost thing. It's the first time they've done it in many years. And it's really a fairly small increase. But a really interesting thing they've done is, I'm trying to think, I think it's in the color space. I'd have to go back, but there's an incentive built into their pricing structure now to keep books at under 108 pages. And so we have a client that just came on board and we've kind of set a constraint. We're going to try to keep their book at exactly 108 pages. It's kind of like haiku, but for books.
Awesome. Guys, this was great. Long overdue. It was a wonderful talk. I know that there's more to come. We'll share out the ebook to everybody. And, just want to thank everybody for coming. And I want to thank Yvonne and Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.